Welcome to new user orientation for the 2021 TaxSlayer ProWeb program. My name is Brandy Bailey. I'm the trainer here in TaxSlayer Pro support. And in this video series, I will be guiding you through the features of ProWeb from setting up your office to filing a tax return. Before we get started, here are the recommended minimum system requirements for using TaxSlayer ProWeb. We recommend that you install Adobe Reader version 10 or above, maintain a stable, high-speed internet connection, and our program runs best in Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge browsers. Please note that if you are a macOS user and Safari is your default internet browser, you will want to download Google Chrome for the best experience when you're working in TaxSlayer ProWeb. To get started in ProWeb, first navigate to online.taxslayerpro.com. That will take you here to the login page. Enter the username and password that your office manager provided to you. If you cannot remember your username or your password, you can select Forgot Username to recover it or Forgot Password to reset it. I've got my username and password entered, so I'll click the Login button. The next step is to verify your account. You can choose to have a verification code sent to your phone number or to your email address. I'm going to send the text to my phone number. You'll get a text message from number 37992. And when you open that text message, it will say TaxSlayer Pro verification code, and there will be a 6-digit code. Enter the 6-digit code here and click Verify. This will take you to the main menu of TaxSlayer ProWeb. And let's take a look at this main menu before we get into our next steps. Here at the top, in the right-hand corner, you can change the tax year that you're accessing. And the years will be listed here according to your purchase history and account hub. So if I wanted to change to 2020 ProWeb or go back to 2017 to look at a return I prepared there, I will simply select the tax year from the drop-down menu after I've logged in to get to those years of the program. The current user up top will display your username. Let's take a look at the left navigation menu as well. You can use these left navigation buttons when you're working to get quickly to what you need. The main menu, client status if you want to check on the status of e-filed returns. IRS website will take you to irs.gov. The e-file opt-out form, if you choose this link, you will get a printable copy of the opt-out form, and you'll use this if you decide to paper file any returns that you prepare in your office. Next, we have a link to IRS mailing addresses for returns that must be mailed, a quick link to IRS publications, instructions, and fill-in forms, a link to Google, a link to TaxSlayerPro.com, Form 8948. If you are interacting with one of our support agents here at TaxSlayer Pro Support, they may ask you to connect using Beyond Trust so that they can directly work on your computer, and you will use this link to get that contact started when the agent directs you to do so. The most useful link here, I think, is the TaxSlayer knowledge base. The knowledge base is stocked with articles that have step-by-step instructions for all of our program features and for many of your common questions that arise while you're preparing tax returns. And finally, we have a quick refund calculator. Next on the main menu, at the top, we have the Message Center. And this Message Center is updated constantly throughout the year with announcements from TaxSlayer Pro that pertain to your practice, such as state tax updates, federal tax updates, and any messages about program updates that are important for you to know. So these messages will show up automatically here in the Message Center. You can choose to print them with the print icon or get rid of them with the dismiss notification icon. Our first task in new user orientation is to get your office prepared for tax season by going to configuration. So let's get into that now. Here on the main menu, we'll scroll down and select configuration. So we'll go down to office setup. Before you prepare returns in ProWeb, you have to configure the settings for your office. This is a very important step. First, please ensure that the active checkbox is marked. If you unmark active, this office will be deactivated and it will not be accessible. Always ensure that the active checkbox at the top of Office Setup is marked. Next, you'll want to enter your office name. If you have applied for and been accepted by any of our partner banks in Account Hub, those banks will be listed here on the Selected Bank drop-down menu, and you can choose the bank that you intend to offer products from for your taxpayers. If you do not plan to offer bank products, it's important that you mark that here as well. Next, if you work in a state that requires you to collect sales tax for return preparation, you will enter that amount here under sales tax percentage. Next, there's the date that you would like to show on printed returns from your office. You can select the current date, that is the date that you print the return, or the date the return was created, the date the return was marked as complete, or you can choose not to print a date. Next, you must choose the signature that you would like to print on Form 8879. You can choose the preparer's name only, the ERO's name only, both the ERO and preparer names, or you can choose to leave that form blank. Next, if you have chosen to offer partner products such as audit or identity theft support, those products will be available to select here. Let's get into the office configuration setting. First, your cover page settings. You can choose to print the ERO information on the cover page, no cover page at all, or to print the office information on cover page. Sometimes your ERO and office information may differ, and that is why the choice is available here. Next, mark this box if you want digital signatures captured in the program to be printed on Form 1040. You can choose to disable the third-party designee prefill by marking this box. You can choose to require a taxpayer's signature to be collected before a return can be e-filed by marking this box. If you want to offer your taxpayers the choice to receive their refund split across several accounts, you will need to mark this box to offer Form 8888 on the e-file page of the return. If this box is not marked, the choice for Form 8888 will not be available. You can mark this box to display the summary using the 1040 view. Otherwise, it will default to a summary view of the return. You can mark here to hide the preparer's name on the printed 1040. And you can choose the firm name settings on that 1040 print. You can choose to print the ERO name as the firm's name, or to print the office name as the firm's name. Next, you can choose to always print Schedule A, even if your taxpayer takes the standard deduction. The next box is very important. If you are going to be using a Topaz signature pad to collect your taxpayer's signatures, you want to mark this box. And please note that if the Topaz box is marked, your taxpayer will not be able to use the mouse to add their signature in the program. We do not recommend marking the box for force verification of IP address. One of the virtues of ProWeb is that it's very portable. And if you force verification of the IP address, it will fix the IP address at the place you currently are now. So you'll most likely want to leave this box unmarked. Next, you can choose to have the state return default to be sent through the bank product when your federal return is a bank product. Otherwise, leave this box unmarked. And you can choose to require that the taxpayer's email address be entered on the e-file page before the return can be filed. You can also choose to default your tax returns to Spanish. Choose this box if your entire client list are Spanish-speaking customers. Otherwise, you'll want to leave it unmarked. The final checkbox here is to require that return tags be applied before a return can be saved. And we'll get into return tags shortly. Next, you can customize the number of clients that will display on your client list. The default value is 999, which means up to 999 clients will show on your client list. If you would like that number to be lower, you can enter a lower number here. After reviewing the checkboxes, you'll have to enter contact information for your office. It is important that your office have a physical address added, but you can also add mailing or shipping addresses. If you choose to do so, click Add Address, select the type, physical mailing or shipping, enter the address, select the state and zip code, and if you need to delete an address that you've entered, you can choose the Delete button here. And the same with office phones. You'll want to make sure that you enter a business phone. You can also add a home or a fax number if you have those for your office. Select Add Phone, choose the type, enter the number, and the extension if that applies. And you can choose the Delete button to get rid of any excess phone numbers. Verify that your information here is complete and click Continue. We're back on the Configuration main menu, and after you've got Office Setup complete, you'll need to set up your ERO. Select ERO Setup from the Configuration menu. Select Add ERO. The customer ID should pre-fill, but if it does not pre-fill, you can find that in Account Hub under Account Information. Add your ERO name. If you have more than one office, you may want to enter an office identifier, such as main. If you have an employer identification number, you can enter that here, but it is not required. What is required is that you enter an EFIN, and you can do so here. Next, you'll choose whether the ERO is self-employed. Self-employed means that they do not work for you, and perhaps they work on their own or with other offices during different parts of the year. If that's true of the ERO, you can mark this box. You can mark whether this is the default ERO for your office here, and you'll definitely want to make sure that default and active are both selected if this is the only ERO that you'll be setting up in your office. Finally, mark this box if the ERO's address and phone information are the same as the office address and phone that you put in Office Setup. If you mark this box, that information will pre-fill for this ERO. If the ERO has a different address or phone number than what you used in Office Setup for your firm, you can choose Add Address here or Add Phone here to put in that information. When you're done setting up the ERO, choose Continue. On the EROs menu, you'll see all of the EROs that you have set up in your office. If you have set any status to not active, you can choose the View Inactive box here to view those inactive EROs. Choose Return to get back to configuration. The next step in configuring your office is entering accounts for your preparers. So choose Preparer Setup from the Configuration menu. On the Preparers menu, you'll see all of the preparer accounts that you've created in your office. You can use the Search By box to search by name for a certain preparer. You can also filter this page by using the Status drop-down menu to view all active preparers, only inactivated preparers, or to show all. Use caution with this Flip Active Status button. If you click this button, all of the preparers in your office will be flipped to inactive, and if they are inactive, they will not be able to log into ProWeb using their credentials. We recommend that you not choose the Flip Active Status button. It is useful at the end of tax year if you want to quickly deactivate all the preparers in your office so that they cannot access ProWeb during the off season. To add a preparer in ProWeb, select the Add Preparer box. You'll start by entering their Social Security number, although this is not required, and you can skip it if you do not have their Social Security number. Enter their name, their middle initial, and their last name. If they have a suffix, you can enter that here. You'll want to choose a default PIN number. This is the practitioner's PIN that will automatically populate on Form 8879. This is a number that you make up and should be 5 digits long. If your preparer has a 2848 CAF number, you can enter that here, although it is not common for preparers to have a CAF number, and you will most likely leave this blank. It is required to enter a PTIN for all the tax preparers in your office. If you're setting up an account for someone who is not a paid tax preparer, who does not have a PTIN and is only in your office to do simple data entry, you can select the box for data entry only, no PTIN required. You can select this box to make the preparer the office contact. Typically, your preparers will not be designated as the office contact, but if your office is only you and one other preparer, or just you yourself, you'll want to check this box. As with the ERO, you can select the self-employed box if your preparer is not employed by you, they work by themselves or in other tax offices during the year. If you select Can View Returns Only, this preparer will only see the returns that they themselves created when they're looking at the office client list. If this box is not selected, the preparer will be able to see all returns created in the office on the client list. ProWeb has a Guide Me feature, so if you have preparers who are new to tax preparation, you can select this box to require them to use the Guide Me feature when they are preparing returns in ProWeb. If the preparer is going to be working on New York or Oregon returns, those states require preparers to have a special registration number, and this is where you'll enter those. For the NYTPRIN, you'll check the Preparer's New York Returns box, and you'll be able to enter their number here, or if they don't have that number, you can select the exemption code here. For example, if they are an attorney, a CPA, or an enrolled agent who is not required to have an NYTPRIN. And if they're going to be preparing Oregon returns, you'll enter their Oregon license number here after marking the checkbox. If your preparer is a preparer agent with the IRS and can approve W-7 forms, you will enter that information in this section. This is not common, and you'll most likely skip this section. Next is the login account section, and this is where you will create credentials that you'll give to your preparers so that they can log into ProWeb. The email address and phone number, you'll want to make sure this is accurate so that your preparer has no trouble logging in. And for each of the email address and phone number, you can select the Allow Multiple Accounts to use this number box. This ensures that if the preparer already has an account in ProWeb or Account Hub, that email address can also be used for this account. If you're in doubt, it's always a good idea to check these boxes. Next, you'll select a username. And finally, you'll set a password for this preparer. Again, you'll want to make sure that the active box is checked so that their account is active and they can log into ProWeb. And here, if you have security templates set up, you'll select from the drop-down menu to apply a template to the preparer. Security templates allow or disallow access to specific program features. You can choose Show Definitions. This opens a window with a drop-down menu containing all of your security template and all of the configurations that you've set for each template, turning access on or off for the preparers to whom that template applies. And we're going to cover how to set up security templates in a little while. When you're done creating the preparer's account, click Continue to save. This will take you back to the preparer's menu, and you'll see the preparer that you just created on the list. You can add a preparer here at the bottom as well. You can at any time come in and edit the information for your preparers. Select Return to get back to the configuration menu. Next, you want to set up your fees. Select Fees Setup from the configuration menu. You'll start by setting a minimum preparer fee and a maximum preparer fee for your office, if that applies. You can print a list of your fees from this page. You can set a fee range here. And you can increase or decrease fees using this feature. This list of forms can be filtered in several ways. You can choose to view all forms. You can choose to view only federal forms, or you can choose to view only state forms and select the specific state that you want to view from the drop-down menu. This is useful if you want to set specific fees for specific forms. For example, creating a Schedule C takes me more time, and I want to charge extra for any return that has a Schedule C. You can type in the name of the form if you know exactly what you're looking for in the search box here. When I typed in schedule, Schedule C was the first to come up, and you see that I've set a fee for $100. So any return that has a Schedule C will automatically be charged an extra $100 for preparation fee. If you want to charge a flat fee for preparing a return, you can choose Form 1040 and add your fee there. Once you've completed setting the fees for any specific forms that you want to charge for, and you've got your minimum and maximum prepare fees set, you can choose Return to get back to the main menu. Along with setting your fees, you'll want to go to Custom Fees and Discounts. Custom fees are useful, say if you want to charge for a printed return. If you want to automatically charge all of your customers $15 for a printed return, you can add a fee like that here by selecting Add Custom Fee. Enter in the amount of the fee, give the fee a name. You can choose to charge this fee by default to all returns in your office. And if you choose to charge it by default, you can select Allow to be removed. This will allow you to remove the fee for certain returns on the e-file page. And you can select Edit Fee on Return so that you can edit the amount of the fee when you are e-filing the return. When you've got your fees set up, click Continue to save that information. You can edit your fees at any time on the Custom Fees page by selecting Edit, and you can delete the fees by selecting Delete. Next, you can set custom discounts. For example, I have an active military discount of $30 set and a friends and family discount of $15. Like the custom fee, select Add Custom Discount, put in an amount, and put in a fee name. Let's do a fee for your employees. And you can choose for this discount to be charged by default on all returns. If you do so, you might want to allow it to be removed, and you can choose to edit the fee on the return by selecting this box. When you've created the discount, select Continue to save it. The discount appears on the page where you can edit or delete at any time. When you've got all of your custom fees and discounts set up, select Return to get back to the configuration menu. Next, let's set up some security templates. On the configuration menu, we'll go down to Security Templates. You can create an unlimited number of custom security templates in ProWeb. To create a custom template, select Add Security Template and give the template a name. All of the options are marked yes by default, and there are a lot of options here to explore. I recommend that you take your time when you're setting up a security template. If you hover over each of these options, an explainer box will tell you what the option does. For example, access current year client list. When it's enabled, the user can view the client list for the current year, which is useful, and you'll probably want to leave that checked. But for example, if you do not want your preparer to be able to change the name of the preparer on a return, you can unselect Change Return Preparer, and they will not see the option to do that. Again, read through the options very carefully when you're creating a security template. Hover over each one to understand what it's for. When you've made your selections, click Continue here at the bottom right corner to get back to the list of security templates. Here on the security template list, you can select View Users next to each template. This will show you the features that are enabled and disabled in that security template and all of the users to which the template has been applied. You can select the Assign button next to a template. This brings up a list of your employees, and you can check the box next to their name to apply the security template to their account. When you've made your selections, select Continue and select Back to get back to the security template main menu. You can edit security templates at any time from this menu by selecting Edit, and you can delete any templates that you're done with by selecting the Delete button here. When you're done setting up the security templates that you want to use in your office, select the Back button to get back to your configuration menu. Next in configuration, let's look at the question templates. TaxSlayer ProWeb allows you to set up custom questions that your preparers can use to capture data during the return preparation process. While more questions or answers can always be added during the year, we recommend that you finalize your questions before tax season begins so that your reporting for the office is accurate. You can see that I've got a couple of questions set up already, such as, is the taxpayer a government employee, or was the taxpayer referred from Facebook? These questions are extremely customizable for any situation you can think of. To add a question, select Add Question here. Enter the question. Checking the box here is required makes the question required for the preparer to mark the return complete and e-file it. Leave the box unmarked if you don't want the question to be required for e-file. Next, you have to enter in the available answers for the question. So for the question, was the taxpayer referred from Instagram? We'll want to make sure that we enter yes, but also we want to make sure that we enter no. When you have all available answers for the question entered in, and you can add as many answers as you need, click the Save button. You can edit the questions at any time on the Edit Questions menu by selecting Edit, and you can delete the questions as well. When you're done setting up your questions, select Back to get to the Configuration menu. Another way that you can collect and filter data about the clients and returns in your office is with tags. On the Configuration menu, scroll down to Tags. Here you can see that I have a few tags applied in my office. I want to know when a return is missing a W-2, and I want to be able to filter my client list by returns that are missing W-2s. So I've got a tag set up for that. I also have a tag for myself as a preparer. So every time I prepare a return, I tag it with my own name so that I can filter the client list and only see my own returns. To add a tag, select Add Tag and type in the tag. Let's add a tag for complete. When you're done adding your tags, select the Save button in the bottom right. You can delete tags by selecting the small round X button at the corner. And when you're done, select Save and then Back to get to the Configuration menu. Now I want to show you how those tags work. So I'm going to return to the main menu and select Client Search. This will get to the Office client list. You can filter the client list in many ways. Select Filter by Return tag, and then select the tag, for example, Missing W-2. That will shorten the client list to only those returns that have been tagged as missing a W-2. When there is a tag applied to a return, the tag icon here will be blue. If this return does not have any tags, let's remove the tags to demonstrate. By unclicking them and then selecting Save, the tag icon will be gray if this return has no tags applied to it. And I'm going to put the Missing W-2 tag back on by selecting it and clicking Save. I mentioned that custom questions and tags can be used to generate reports in your office, and I want to show you where to find those reports. Here on the main menu, go to Reports. You can use the search box to quickly find reports you're looking for, so I'm going to put in Tag, and then select the Return Tag Report. This generates a list of all the returns in my office that have a tag applied, and over here in the Return Tags column, it tells me which tags have been applied to each specific return. This report, like every other report in ProWeb, is downloadable as PDF, Excel, or a CSV file. Let's go back to the Office Reports menu, and we'll use the search box for questions. We'll choose the Return Questions report. This shows a list of all returns in the office, and over here, which questions have been answered on the return and what the answers are. Again, you can download these reports to the format that suits you. Select Back to get back to the Reports menu. The final step of configuration that I want to show you today is setting up print sets. TaxSlayer ProWeb comes with several predefined print sets, but you can also create custom print sets, and this will save your office paper and resources by printing only the forms that you select. These custom print sets are available on the submission page in the e-file section of the return. You can see that I have a few custom print sets made already. To create one, we'll select Add Print Set. We'll give the print set a name, Now you can search for specific forms that you want to add by using the search box here to zero in on the form by name. And you can also filter this list by state if you're looking for state forms in particular. Say you want to print just a copy of the Georgia 500 for this print set. You'll find that form, change the number of copies to the number that you need. When you've got all the forms in for the custom print set that you're setting up, scroll down to the bottom right corner and select Save. This takes you back to the Print Sets menu, which lists all of the custom sets in your office. You can choose the Set as Default button to make this the default print set in your office. You can choose the Edit button to further customize a print set, and you can choose to delete the print set by selecting the Delete button. When you've created all the print sets that you need, select Back to get back to your configuration menu. Now we've walked through all the steps of configuring your office for tax season. In the next video, we'll get to work on a return.